Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Tuesday. It's Daryl here. It's not so bright and early anymore. It's 5:30 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. I'll say it one more time. I had not planned on making this video. I was just in the middle of my workout, and I can't help but look over and see if there's any new stories that popped up, especially about the riverboat situation. And I came across another story, and I felt very strongly about it. It has to do with recovery. It has to do with a lot of the stuff I've experienced over the last 17 years. And there's a couple things that just don't ring true for me, and I want to talk about that. All right, what am I talking about? You all probably know the rapper Tekashi 6IX9INE. I've always liked this guy. I used to work out to his what was his first album, Gummy. I can't remember now. Like I said, man, cut me some slack. I'm 57 years old, but I downloaded. I used to listen to his tunes. I think it was "Stupid." That's the one. I used to crank that up all the time while I was working out. But anyway, okay, this is the situation. So he's doing like a documentary, Tekashi 6IX9INE, on Showtime and Hulu, and he's talking about how he got his name, which is something because it sounds like a Japanese name, so it's something I'd wonder about. And he talks about how there is a tattoo artist in his neighborhood, a Japanese man, whose name is Tekashi Matsuba. Tekashi Matsuba. I want to make sure I get that right. And he thought the name was so cool that he lifted it and used it for his own. I actually heard this happening in my own life back when I was using 20 years ago. One of my friends' names was Rex, and an actual big dealer in the neighborhood thought the name Rex was cool, and he took it for his own. So everybody, hey, you call up Rex, and it's kind of, it's like when somebody of questionable character takes your name because they think it's cool, but that's really not what happened here. Okay, so Tekashi 6IX9INE says he lifted his name from this tattoo artist, and there's a clip right down below. I actually watched this. You could hear Tekashi 6IX9INE actually saying this. He comes right out and he says that Tekashi Matsuba is a heroin. I don't know if he says is or was is a heroin addict. He uses the heroin to create and to get into his own little world. These are Tekashi 6IX9INE's, and seeing as Tekashi 6IX9INE was or past tense a heroin dealer, I'm sure a lot of people would probably believe that. So here's the situation. The tattoo artist is now suing Tekashi 6IX9INE because he says these allegations are all false, and I believe he's saying he's never touched heroin. It's important, if it's, I want to know if he's in recovery, but I think he claims he never touched heroin, and he says it's ruined his business and it scared away friends, and worst of all, his wife divorced him over this. So he blames Tekashi 6IX9INE for all of this, and some of this, I don't want to come out and say somebody's being dishonest. But that is not my experience. Like I said, if you don't know, I've been clean and sober since October 23rd, 2006. Coming up on 17 years. 16 years, and I think I'm probably around 10 months right now. And I just want to talk about that briefly. Like, I started thinking about this. I've dated, Audrey was in recovery herself, but my girlfriend before that, she knew I was in recovery. She had never used drugs at all. She had a young daughter. She had her own business. She knew I had been in recovery for 7 years, and she had no problem with dating me, and we had no problems. I've gotten nothing but amongst my friends and with the girls I've dated, I've had nothing but good outcomes of being in recovery. That's why I kind of wanted to. It sounds like he's saying that the tattoo artist saying that he never used. And there's something about that just doesn't ring true for me. Out of all people, I would imagine your wife, I've never been married, but your wife would believe you above a rapper, especially a rapper that's been called a rat and all this other stuff. So it appears what Tekashi Matsuba is saying, that his wife believed what Tekashi 6IX9INE is saying above her own husband, which I have a hard time with that. like I said, I've got nothing but compliments, and when I see people's faces, people could tell if you're telling the truth, if you're honest, and I've seen that, especially when I tell policemen. I've been clean and sober. I'm a recovering addict. I've been clean and sober because a lot of people ask me, because they see me exercising so much around town, walking, riding the bike, and everything, and it comes up, and I usually tell them, they ask me, why am I riding? Why am, or it could be with my paintings too, but usually it's with exercising. And my line, I always have to ask, I'm asked this like on a daily basis, and I always say, well, it keeps me out of trouble, kind of as a joke. And if the conversation continues, I have no problem telling people that I'm proud of the fact that I am in recovery. My family's kind of told me from time to time that they've hinted that they would rather that I just leave it in my past, but it's a part of who I am, and it's something I'm proud of. And most of all, if I could help other people with the hope that it's possible to be clean, that's the most important thing. So I'm not going to hide or just leave in my past, my previous use of heroin, crack, and all that, and my subsequent success in recovery. I'm sure there's times I sensed that people would talk behind my back. This has probably happened to you guys when you're talking. Once it was with a real estate artist and a real estate agent, and the other time it was with another policeman a while back. And I'm talking to them, and each time these people said, they didn't say anything about me, but they kept repeatedly talking badly about other people. Like with the real estate agent, she said bad, she was saying negative things about the other residents, the other people that lived in this building, basically talking behind their backs, and the cop did the same thing. It was about stolen cars. And, he said to me, most people are probably good, but, and he started to denigrate other people that I knew. And the thing that comes to my mind is, if that person is talking badly about other people to me, I guarantee that when he talks to them, he's talking badly about me. That's the feeling I always get. That's one of the reasons why I would never, you just don't talk bad about other people behind their back, because that's how you come across. Okay, now on to the business part of this. As you guys know, with my artwork, I've never hidden the fact that I am a recovering addict. He's an artist, he's a tattoo artist, and he says, now that this has come out, it's hurt his business. It's collapsed his business, I think is what the term he used. The one difference is that his business does involve needles. So I don't know. Maybe it is possible that comes into play if people think he's a current addict. They would. I think, now that I think about it, I would be hesitant to go into somebody that might be using needles, heroin, and, that's tattooing. That would bother me. In my situation, it's honestly, it's just part of who I am. I don't want to say I've used it to sell paintings, but it's been a big plus in my mind, my story. And the one thing here Tekashi says about, this is the one that just killed me. Tekashi says that he's more creative. He gets into his little world, and that's when he creates, is when he's under the influence. And that is nothing but bull, man. That is BS. The reason I get so angry about that is because I used to believe that. And the people that used with me used to believe that. The guys that I hung out with that played guitar, or even guys that worked on, I remember a guy that did concrete foundations, and they all swore that they worked better under the influence of this or that. That is a bunch of crap, man. And especially with me, when I finally did rediscover my artistic talent, it was right when I was in recovery, when I stopped using, not while I was using. That is just, you think in your mind, you think you're great at everything, because it dampens down your emotions and your negative self-talk, and it makes you just numb, basically. So everything looks rosy to you. You think you're doing everything fantastic and you look great and all this other stuff, and it's not the case. So like I said, in my eyes, this especially the part about his wife divorcing him. I don't know how many years they were married. I don't understand why all of a sudden this would, unless it was true. And I don't want to cast aspersions on Tekashi Matsuba. But the only way I could see his wife divorcing him if he is still using, or if he used to use and he lied to her about all about his past and hid it from her. Then I could see that situation. I think there's something being left out here. There's something that's not gelling. That doesn't sound right. I've talked about this before. I think we all get these gut feelings. When we know when we're being lied to, we know when we're being BS'd, and something just doesn't sound right with this. I don't want to call him a liar, but something doesn't sound right. The link will be down below, so you could actually watch the video. You could actually hear what Tekashi says about him and read about the lawsuit yourselves. Recovery is possible. I am an example. I'm coming up on 17 years clean and sober, completely clean and sober. I was a hardcore heroin and crack cocaine, pills, alcohol user every day, 24/7, 365, and I've been clean and sober coming up on 17 years. Recovery is possible. Have a good Tuesday.